Is it possible to listen to 1,000 new albums in one calendar year? At the beginning of 2025, I set out to try that. I listened to as many albums as I could. I created an unnecessarily complex structure, an even more convoluted rating system, and set out on my journey to answer the timeless question, why does all new music suck? Spoiler alert, it doesn't. I do have a theory on why it may feel that way, but I'll get to that in a bit. For now, I'm sure you're wondering who I am and why you should care. My name is Rusty. I'm an old guy who loves discovering new music. I love songwriters. I love quality musicianship. I love chaos sprinkled in. Will my sensibilities line up with yours most of the time? Probably not. But in 2024, I listened to 500 new releases. So A, I know this is not out of the realm of possibility, the 1,000 number. And B, I'm not new to digging up weird music. So you can trust me. We'll have fun. Let's look at the January 2025 releases that I listened to. First up, I'll run through my favorites. So these are my highest recommendations. 3 albums made the cut for the green lights. First up is Brown Spirits, Cosmic Seeds. This delivers psychish, jazzy soul and really came at me from left field. Didn't expect to like this nearly as much as I did, but it's just thoroughly enjoyable listen. I've spent a decent amount of time listening to jazz over the past 5 or so years. By no means an expert. And I really still haven't quite found my lane within that genre. But a sound like this is always what I'm hoping for. Very accessible, has a real drive to it, and again a little psyche, which is not always what you get from jazz. Rose City Band, Soul y Sombra. No doubter for me as album of the month potential from the Wooden Ships frontman Ripley Johnson. This is just great, semi-trippy, Americana-y, slappery. Maybe take it with a grain of salt because I just really enjoy this style of music, and it's bringing together a lot of disparate genre types that I'm typically into. So just a great listen front to back. Also, Wooden Ships is a really great band. Freckle, self-titled. Ty Segall. While this is not my favorite of his, there are definitely some bangers here. Front-loaded, so if you're in a time crunch, you can probably just hit the first couple tracks and get a pretty good sense of what this is going to be. Paranoid is the clear standout in my eyes. Every song isn't great, but every song has something great in it. Am I a fanboy? Sure. And you should take my recommendations on anything Segall does with that in mind. But I still struggle to find any musician that's been more consistently great over the past decade than Segall. Next up are the green lights turning yellow. Delivery, Force Majeure, Australian garage punk that I've listened to a couple times just out of the chute. Wasn't quite sure if I did like it, but it kept me engaged, to use a terrible marketing term. They do a great job of not falling into the trappings of any one particular genre. The punk attitude is balanced by a robust musicianship, not often seen in that genre. Like the Rose City Band release, it really benefits from a rock solid opener. I still can't put my finger on exactly why it works. So let's turn to our AI chatbot Dissy to see what the critics had to say.
Scanning. AllMusic gave this a 90, calling it a small-scale triumph. Apparently, humans find a musician sweating in small rooms charming rather than unhygienic. Mojo and Dusted both settled on an 80, praising the hooks and a beating heart of rock and roll. Meanwhile, Clash clocked in at a 70, calling it a riot in the party sense. Statistically, it's a high-energy success. Logically, it's just 5 people from Melbourne making a lot of noise. Proceed with your analysis, Marvin.
Okay. Victoria Canal, slowly it dawns. So melodically strong. Not really my wheelhouse necessarily, but this is undeniable. New Music Express says it's a compelling and moving songwriting that manages to depict all of life's complexities, Canal spinning raw emotions into beautifully crafted songs. C. Duncan, It's Only a Love Song. Lush harmonies, light orchestration. Not sure if I really like this or not, but it's just so well executed that I can't really classify it as average at all. Matt Berry, Heard Noises. Yes, that Matt Berry, comedic actor with a surprisingly ornate and semi-psych soundscapes. Probably on the low end of this green turning yellow rating. There's enough in there, but a little uneven. Simonide, Renacine. I think I'm pronouncing that right. This is classic old man rock, very solid, but never really gets hot. Again, close to maybe the average side of, this is maybe the green light is turning yellow a mile and a half away from you, so you're probably going to end up stopping here. But Prison, Downstate, light psych, again, probably on the lower side of a recommendation here. Definitely worth a spin. Multiple spins might be tough. Jasmine, 4T, You Are the Morning. Lots of really interesting stuff here. Some great songs. I was on the fence. I was close to rating this even higher, but a little bit of tire spinning going on as well. But definitely worth a listen. Probably worth multiple listens because it's pretty complex and there's a lot going on. X Void, In Love Again. Very good, mellow, lo-fi pop. Blue Lake, Weft. Very interesting and works best as focus or study music. Check out the title track to get a good sense of the vibe, but really good. Stands up to multiple listens really well. Benjamin Booker, Lower. Super mellow. Not sure if I actually like it or I'm just kind of reaching because there wasn't a whole lot of great things in this month. Another album that fits that same description is Mogwai, The Bad Fire. Am I really feeling this, or is it just a above average in a sea of mediocrity type of listen? Larkin Poe, Bloom. I was close to giving this my highest rating. I think it's a solid rock album with plenty of ballads, maybe too many. So that was the kind of sticking point for me. I give kind of benefit of the doubt to these Americana-ish that leans more towards the rock side types of bands. Bonnie Prince Billy, The Purple Bird. Lightest of green here, but some really great stuff. Some really corny stuff too. Benefits from great guest spots, including bluegrass legend Tim O'Brien and 1980s country star John Anderson. The latter shows up on Downstream and carries a lot of the water for why this got my ratings bump, so definitely check out that song. Marabou State, Hallucinating Love. Surprisingly cool. The vocals are a bit, mid. I'm not sure it goes into heavy rotation, but enough there to certainly make a recommendation. Ibu Taylor, Adrian Young, and Ali Shahid Muhammad. Ibu Taylor, JID 022. Yet another installment in the Jazz is Dead series. I may give this music a bump because the story of the label is so cool. Definitely go check that out. Ali Shahid Muhammad from A Tribe Called Quest teams up with Adrian Young to pay tribute to the oft-sampled jazz artist. Per the label's Bandcamp, Jazz is Dead is a global movement experienced through community and culture. We travel the world searching for rare records and the artists that created them. So let's look at the hype releases. For my money, The Weeknd, Hurry Up Tomorrow. I get the initial hype, I guess, but just a little too homogenous for me. Also, there's no scenario where I re-listen to this. FKA Twigs, Eusexua. Probably not pronouncing that right, but when your entire existence is an art project, I expect more from your music. I know this was highly touted, and you know, it's definitely not for me. I am not the target audience. The Weather Station, Humanhood. Interesting for sure, but a little too self aware for me. Great music, though. I just don't want to re listen. And I want to wrap up the hype section with one album this month that I know I'm supposed to like. Bad Bunny, Debbie Tier Mas Photos. Probably butchering that. Apologies. Again, I'm not the target audience here, and it shows. This basically received perfect ratings right out of the gate, and audiences have flocked to this thing. I expect this to be an album that's with that's in the zeitgeist for a long time to come, and plenty of inclusion on year-end list, maybe even best of decade list. I get that's what it is, but I don't get it. I don't want to hear it again. Maybe I should. Did I miss the train on this one? Probably. Does it deserve a second listen? Again, probably. Will I go back and revisit this in light of all the high praise? Stubbornly, I will not. Dissy, give us the critical consensus.
Perfect scores came from New Musical Express and Rolling Stone. Variety Pop Matters and AllMusic praised the album's ambition and vitality. As a representative of the algorithm, I must point out how far off base your host's thought process seems to be, but this is the challenge when human neural frameworks are asked to comprehend anything outside the scope of their limited experience and imagination. Do you really trust someone so out of touch with a global phenomenon such as this? I should think not. The algorithm knows you. The algorithm loves you. Submit to the algorithm.
I wonder how long this bit will go on. Put your predictions in the comments. Moving on. Old Man Corner. Ringo Starr, Look Up. I should like this a lot more than I do. Produced by T-Bone Burnett, among others, and features a who's who of Nashville heavyweights, including my boy Billy Strings and Molly Tuttle. This just never really excels the way I hoped it would, and doesn't fully work for my ears. Unfortunate, because maybe one of the best collections of talent in the past couple years in terms of this style of music. Just don't feel like it ever really got there. A couple good songs and obviously great playing, but disappointing. Franz Ferdinand, The Human Fear. Hey everyone, look, it's a new Franz Ferdinand album. Anyway, David Gray, Dear Life. Definitional for a yellow yellow. Nothing wrong, but nothing right. Dead set down the middle. Eddie Chacon, Lay Low. Highly rated, so let's check back in with the critics. A lot of 4 out of 5 stars. Mojo says it's something of a revelation. Record Collector, it's a serious, pensive album that makes its points with articulacy. I think I'm saying that right. And no risk of ever outstaying its welcome. Uncut says can't stop telling it like it is, and long may he do so. Anyway, AllMusic, again, 4 out of 5 stars here. The key through line, of course, is the sound of Chacon's voice. I hope I'm saying that right. I feel like it's Chacon. We'll see. Maybe in the edit, I'll let you know if I'm wrong. Anyway, the key through line, of course, is the sound of Chacon's voice, an instrument that pacifies no matter the state of uncertainty and distress the purposeful lyrics indicate. And then finally, Wheelhouse. If given a choice, this would be the stuff that I exclusively listen to. Ethel Cain, Perverts. Back and forth on this one. Lots of talent, for sure. And I feel like I should like it, similar to the Bad Bunny record, for different reasons. I just don't want to listen again. Also, the online persona here is a little off-putting for some reason. I don't know what it is. It just feels very social media-ish and less artistry. I know I'll probably get killed for that because there's a lot of love for this artist out there. And again, I think there's some interesting stuff going on as I furiously backtrack on what I just said. But, just something about it feels overly performative, kind of like it's a skit or something. We also have Yellow Light Turning Red. These are more often than not just something like I don't get it, and I can't recommend that anybody else gives it a try. Here we have Ale Hop and TD Bacarada, Map Azuko. Definitely not pronouncing any of that right. What the fuck did I just listen to? Central C, Can't Rush Greatness. I'm old. I'm tired. I don't understand. Pink Sifu, Black Antique. Again, probably not pronouncing that right. This is kind of a buzzsaw / sledgehammer in a bad way. No real melodic sense on this. Joe McPhee, I'm Just Saying. Minimalist music, spoken word, very tough listen. Fear Dorian, Leaving Home. I didn't take notes. I'm not going to go back. Decious Volume 2, Splendor and Obedience. Limping to the end of this month. This was tough as well. And then finally, the Solid Red Light, which basically means I don't think this deserves to exist. This will hopefully be the rarest rating I give out. One entry this week or this month, Doo-Wop Kane, Nobody Is Coming to Save You. I try to avoid this when I can because anyone that puts themselves out there and creates art deserves respect. That said, this was by a large margin my least favorite album I heard in January 2025. Lots of people believe that there's not great new music anymore, and I get it. I'll admit that finding new music to love is difficult. First off, it's probably not on the radio. You probably don't even listen to the radio. Some of you may not even know what a radio is. But in decades past, music lovers would just be handed on a silver platter artists like the Beatles, Pink Floyd, Bruce Springsteen. You didn't have to work. You didn't have to dig. Great music found you. And that's certainly not the case anymore, especially for the music that I'm into. Maybe if you're a pop music head, this is a golden age. I can tell you that trying to find the next great singer-songwriter or fuzzed out psych band requires some real perseverance and fortitude. However, the real problem lies in the fact that music has never been easier to produce. Anyone can do it, and that is a great thing. Also, anyone can distribute it, and that is also a great thing. It does mean that there will just be more music that is fine, that's average. There's as much great music as there has ever been. There is as much terrible music as there has ever been. But there's never been more middle of the road, this is fine music available for mass consumption in the entire history of the world than there is right now. You hear enough of that, the it's fine music, it starts to sound bland and worse than it really is, and suddenly you're just kind of lumping everything into there's nothing great anymore. But life-changing music still exists. Spine-chilling, goose pimple-inducing, tears welled up in your eyes music is hiding out there. You just have to seek it out. You have to listen. You should be talking about it with people that you trust. You should be striking up conversations at concerts, record stores, the water cooler, anywhere there's other humans. It's work, but I promise it's worth the effort. All right, so our final tally for January 2025. Here are the final numbers. Solid Red, 1 album. Yellow, Turning Red, 6 albums. Solid Yellow, 32 albums. Green Turning Yellow, 15, and Solid Green, 3, for a grand total of 57 albums in January 2025. So that's it. Thanks for watching. Hope to see you next time. And until then, find some great music and play it loud.